Hello everyone, my name is Christina Flora and I'm the Deputy Registrar General. Today I'll be presenting to you on the legal framework for electronic conveyancing. The Registrar General has nominated 3rd of August 2020 as the date for mandating of electronic conveyancing in South Australia. This will cover approximately 92% of dealings. As new dealings become available electronically, they may be mandated following a minimum 3 months notice period. The Land Services SA website has a current list of all dealings that are mandated and exemptions that apply. To assist industry in the transition to full mandating, the Office of the Registrar General issued a survey to better understand what support practitioners would like. This short webinar is in response to that survey, in which stakeholders told us they'd like more information about this topic. Overview of the legal framework. The Real Property Act 1886 is the principal legislation governing all property transactions in South Australia. Amendments were made to the Act in 2016 to enable electronic conveyancing and to align the requirements for paper and electronic lodgement. These changes also introduced new rules for conveyancing, including verification of identity, verification of authority, also referred to as right to deal within the electronic conveyancing framework, client authorisations, and broader certification requirements. The Real Property Act, as the South Australian land titling legislation, is the overarching piece of legislation under which other pieces of the framework sit. In addition to the Real Property Act, to introduce electronic conveyancing, South Australia has implemented the Electronic Conveyancing National Law, South Australia Act 2013. All Australian jurisdictions have passed legislation consistent with this to support a national system. A national body consisting of the registrars in each jurisdiction was also formed. This is known as the Australian Registrars National Electronic Conveyancing Council, in short, ARNEC. ARNEC's role is to ensure a coordinated approach to the regulation of electronic conveyancing across Australia. ARNEC developed the Electronic Conveyancing National Law as model litigation, which was then enacted in New South Wales. Other jurisdictions then adopted that law through passage of legislation in their own parliaments. Despite the existence of separate acts in each jurisdiction, the Electronic Conveyancing National Law provides a common legal framework across all jurisdictions for the lodgement of documents in electronic form for an electronic lodgement network. Through the Electronic Conveyancing National Law, registrars grant permission for companies known as Electronic Lodgement Network Operators, otherwise known as ELNOs, to facilitate electronic lodgement in their jurisdiction. The reason each Electronic Conveyancing National Law is a state or territory-based act, rather than a singular Commonwealth Act, is that the regulation of property transactions and interests are controlled by the states and territories, not the Commonwealth. Sitting under the Electronic Conveyancing National Law are the Model Operating Requirements, also known in short as the MORs, and the Model Participation Rules, also known in short as the MPRs. The MORs and MPRs were also developed by ARNEC through national collaboration. Both the MOR and MPR are under constant review by ARNEC to ensure they provide the best practical regulation for industry. The current version of the MOR and MPR is version 5. This is accessible from the ARNEC website. ARNEC held consultations on a proposed version 6 of the MOR and MPR in early 2020. Given the impacts of COVID-19, the implementation timeline has been delayed, and ARNEC may hold more public consultation before it makes any changes. Each jurisdiction has also implemented the MPR and MOR in their own jurisdiction. In South Australia, the MPRs are promulgated by the Registrar General under Section 23 of the Electronic Conveyancing National Law and are called the South Australian Participation Rules. They set out the rules placed upon subscribers to an ELNO. The MORs are also promulgated by the Registrar General under Section 22 of the Electronic Conveyancing National Law and are called the South Australian Operating Requirements. These address the operating requirements for ELNOs. The participation rules and operating requirements are therefore statutory instruments under the Electronic Conveyancing National Law. As you can see from this site, both the participation rules and the operating requirements are accessible under the Land Services SA website. From time to time, the Registrar-General grants waivers from compliance with parts of the operating requirements and participation rules. Waivers can be granted in response to numerous issues. A current example is Participation Rule Waiver 1 of 2020. This waives the requirement to undertake face-to-face interviews when applying the Verification of Identity standard for the period in which the COVID-19 Emergency Response Act 2020 is operable. The waivers are also available on the Land Services SA website. As you can see on this slide, they can be located underneath the respective participation rules or operating requirements. Waivers are also published on the ARNEC website. Further, to assist subscribers and LNOs to understand how to comply with the MPR and the MOR, ARNEC has published a series of guidance notes. I'll now take you through an overview of the participation rules. The participation rules govern the way subscribers use the electronic lodgement network to complete conveyancing transactions. Broadly, they cover the following topics: eligibility criteria to become a subscriber, the role of subscribers, general obligations, including obligations about client authorizations, right to deal, verification of identity, and retaining supporting evidence, obligations regarding system security and integrity, including obligations in relation to user access, digital certificates, and certifications. Compliance, including how compliance examinations are conducted. Restriction, suspension, and termination for non-compliance. General prohibitions regarding use of system information. In accordance with Participation Rule 6.1, subscribers must ensure their users are aware of and comply with the terms of the participation rules. Guidance notes have been issued for key topics, including client authorization, right to deal, verification of identity, certification, retention of evidence, and compliance examinations. These topics will be covered in subsequent webinars. I'll now give you an operating requirements overview. The operating requirements set out the obligations placed upon LNOs who are approved to operate an electronic lodgement network. There are currently 2 approved LNOs in South Australia, being PEXA and Simply. Broadly, the operating requirements relate to eligibility criteria for LNOs, general operational requirements, obligation relating to system security and integrity, including providing a comprehensive subscriber security policy which assists subscribers and users to understand their obligations for the security of the electronic lodgement network. Both PEXA and Simply have published security policies on their website, and subscribers and users must ensure they comply with these policies. We encourage everyone to review these policies. Risk management, business continuity and change management, minimum system and performance requirements, service to subscribers, including registration processes and training, compliance monitoring and reporting, and data and information obligations. ARNEC has provided general guidance notes on the MOR to assist LNOs to understand their obligations. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar on the overview of electronic conveyancing legal framework. We have provided links to all resources referenced in this webinar, which you can see on this slide. As part of the transition to mandatory electronic conveyancing, the Office of the Registrar-General and Land Services SA will be holding live question and answer sessions. You can register your interests on the Land Services SA website to attend the session where representatives from the Office of the Registrar-General and Land Services SA will be available to answer your questions. Thank you.